Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. Today's program will focus on 4 of the major observances happening in November. There's youth, Eat Jamaican, science and technology, as well as local government and community development. So without any further hesitation, our program starts with a word of advice, followed by the news.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Good day, I'm Carrie-Ann Smith and this is your JIS News for Monday, November 14. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has welcomed the IMF Executive Board's approval of a new 3-year arrangement with Jamaica. The $1.64 billion precautionary standby agreement will give Jamaica immediate access to $430 million. The rest of the money will be accessible if Jamaica continues to pass the International Monetary Fund's assessments on a 6-month basis.
So it wasn't just the transition between governments that was seamless. We also transitioned into a new IMF program seamlessly. And what that does is to add greater certainty to the environment.
When the new deal was first announced in October, Prime Minister Holness said it was an insurance policy against unforeseen economic shocks beyond the country's control. He announced the board's approval on Friday as he commissioned into service the liquefied natural gas LNG powered plant at Bourg St. James. He reiterated government's broader plan for making Jamaica the central hub for supplying LNG to the region.
If we become the hub, then we become a net exporter of energy right across the region. So the possibilities are significant.
The National Spatial Data Management Division has completed work to capture satellite imagery for the entire island. The work was done in partnership with the Mona Geoinformatics Institute. It's part of a thrust to create a portal for providing geospatial data to government, private sector, and the general public to support development.
If government is able to provide what we call web mapping services, simply providing data over the internet, companies like MGI can utilize that data and create products and value-added products that can actually share with the public. And once you can share it with the public, what you're creating now are new entrepreneurs utilizing the government's data to create and harness economic growth.
The GIS infrastructure manager was addressing a recent GIS think tank. Executive Director of the Jamaica Productivity Center, Dr. Charles Douglas, says the new 15-member board will focus on helping the agency spread the productivity message. Speaking at a recent GIS think tank, Dr. Douglas said the new board was very keen on the drive to promote productivity improvement in Jamaica.
One of the things that we are thinking about is to have each member of our board as a productivity ambassador. We expect that this will help us to spread the message further and wider.
The new board is chaired by President of the Jamaica Manufacturers Association, Metri Siaga. It comprises representatives of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, Jamaica Employers Federation, government, and academia. Cabinet has approved a contract to undertake 90 meters of shoreline protection using sheet pile wall along Port Royal Street in downtown Kingston, the proposed site for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs' new head office.
The award of a contract is in the amount of $103,010,213 to Nikash Construction and Equipment Company Limited.
Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Dr. Horace Chang, is to present specifics of the project to Parliament shortly. In the meantime, Cabinet has also approved the award of a contract valued at approximately $426 million for the provision of consultancy services on the Rio Cobre Basin Water Resources Study.
It noted the study would aim in determining the soundness of the existing restriction on the use of the aquifers within the Rio Cobre Basin, which restrictions had negatively affected farming in that area. It also requested that the study examine the merits of rainwater harvesting, including mandatory rainwater harvesting.
And finally, the agricultural sector is getting crucial support from the Jamaica Rural Economy and Ecosystems Adapting to Climate Change JA REACH project. Deputy Chief of Party at JA REACH, Diane Downer, says the project, which is now in its second phase, has had a significant impact through the piloting of climate-smart agricultural practices since 2012.
Over the period, we piloted a number of those activities that include water harvesting solutions. We work on the government beet armyworm project, which I think was a big success for the program in being able to reduce at one point the beet armyworm infestation.
Ms. Downer was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. She said that in addition to the training of farmers and extension officers, JA REACH was scaling up disaster risk management work in communities.
To sort of strengthen their ability or their capacity to assess their vulnerability and build adaptive action.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Carrie-Ann Smith. Thanks for watching.
Be an active participant in your child's life. Spend time with your child. No phones, no television, no distractions. Just the two of you.
Just the two of us.
Get to know your child through play. Why not go to the park and get on the monkey bars? Sharing a meal can also be a time of bonding. If your child's in school, be involved in school activities. Speak with your child's teacher. Follow up on their progress in school and see how you can help. Assist them with homework. Attend parent-teacher meetings and support school fundraising events. Remember, your child's future is in your hands. Safeguard it.
So glad you are a child of mine.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness had several newsmaking engagements this past week. They're all in Jamaica House Weekly. Next.
Projected 5% GDP growth in 4 years could be surpassed. Major General Anthony Anderson named Ireland's first national security advisor and liquefied natural gas plant commissioned into service. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Prime Minister Andrew Holness expressing excitement with commissioning into service the island's first liquefied natural gas-powered plant at Bogue in St. James. Mr. Holness said he looked forward to the idea of Jamaica being the central hub for supplying LNG to the region.
If we become the hub, then we become a net exporter of energy right across the region. So the possibilities are significant, and we want people to start prospecting, to start searching for the possibilities and the opportunities that exist.
At the top of the week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness expressed confidence in the Economic Growth Council's ability to deliver and possibly surpass its commitment of 5% GDP growth in 4 years. The Prime Minister's endorsement followed the recently reported 2.3% growth in the July to September quarter, the highest quarterly growth since 2002.
This government will make sure that we are faithful to the sacrifice that the people have made. We deserve results. We are a great country. We will make Jamaica the place of choice. We will make Jamaica the center of the Caribbean region, the center of culture and lifestyle, of trade and commerce, the center for logistics, the center for technology and information. We will make Jamaica the great country that we were destined to be.
Mr. Holness also said the 8-point plan was an inclusive partnership for all Jamaicans. That is, it takes into consideration all the elements that will include the poor, the dispossessed, and the vulnerable.
I'm happy about this plan. I had something to do with it. And our mandate, our commitment is to the poor. We love the poor, but we hate poverty.
Yep.
So you know, it's about empowering people, ensuring that they have the access, that they have the amenities, and that they have the knowledge through education, which gives them independence and freedom to realize their full potential. So this plan is pro-poor.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking Monday at the signing ceremony for a declaration of intent to implement the Economic Growth Council's growth plan. Signatories included private sector groups, unions, and civil society. Still on economic growth, Mr. Holness has instructed the Agro Investment Corporation of Jamaica AIC to focus on expanding the agriculture sector and creating an environment for investment.
There are some critical things such as how do we get investments into bringing in special zones for agriculture, including the development of agro-parks. And could we have special economic zones for agro-parks? How do we get large investors to come in to look at the specific development of a particular product that is not just looking at the product from a commodity perspective, but how do we extract all the value added at the different stages?
The Prime Minister was addressing the AIC's newly appointed 8-member board on Wednesday. And Prime Minister Holness unveiled part of his strategic anti-crime action plan with Friday's naming of Major General Anthony Anderson as the island's first national security advisor. Major General Anderson, who is to take up office in December, will advise the Prime Minister on matters of internal and external security affairs to include defense, crime and security, as well as public safety. The current Chief of Defense Staff will be succeeded by Brigadier Rocky Meade. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Holness extended congratulations to Donald J. Trump, President-elect of the United States of America. Mr. Holness said Jamaica placed great value on the more than 50 years of bilateral relations and intends to build on existing initiatives, as well as strengthen relations. Back in Jamaica, Mr. Holness continued his goal of prosperity for all Jamaicans as he held his monthly meeting with the Partnership for a Prosperous Jamaica. On Tuesday, the Prime Minister met with Sir Hilary Beckles and representatives from the Jamaican Foundation for Lifelong Learning. On Wednesday, Mr. Holness met with the Chargé d'Affaires of Venezuela. Also on Wednesday, the Prime Minister held discussions with Crystal House International on plans to build a school for 780 students from infant to secondary levels. And on Friday, Mr. Holness held talks with PSOJ President Chris Zaka. And that's how we close today's Jamaica House Weekly. We return next week with more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
Children, a brighter tomorrow. Let's renew our pledge to God as we work to heal our land and fellow man. Let's join hands across Jamaica for righteousness. Let's join hands across Jamaica for righteousness. Join hands and hearts together and
Nomination day for local government elections was held on Friday, November 11. Jamaicans will go to the polls on November 28 to elect their local representatives. Here's a course in voting for the first-time voters, or a refresher course for those who voted before.
What are you voting for this election? Well, that's your secret. But knowing how to make sure your vote counts on election day is no private matter. But first you must know where to cast your vote and how to do it. Voting? Easy. But you must follow the correct steps to ensure a smooth electoral process and a valid vote. So guess what? Stay with us as we take you through the voting process.
Before Election Day, you will need to confirm that you are actually registered and therefore eligible to vote. You will also need to find out your polling division and the location of your polling station. Remember, you can only vote in the polling station that is designated for you. You can do this in 3 ways: by checking the printout of the voters list at your constituency office or post office, visiting the Electoral Office of Jamaica's website at www.ecj.com.jm, or by calling the EOJ toll-free at 1-888-991-VOTE. That's 1-888-991-8683. After confirming your registration, it's time to get ready to vote. Have your voter identification card at hand. You will need it on Election Day. If you have not yet collected it, please do so at your constituency office.
So it's election day. You know exactly where to cast your vote and you have your voter's identification card with you. Go to your designated polling station and join the line like I have done and wait until it's your turn at the voting booth.
It is often said that the early bird catches the most worms, but sometimes being not so early works in your favor. Most Jamaicans vote during the first 2 hours of polling and the last hour before the polls close, resulting in long lines. So if you want to avoid the wait, it's a good idea to vote during the off-peak hours between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m.
So now it's your turn to cast your vote. Wait for the presiding officer to acknowledge you.
Next person, please. Good day, sir.
Good day.
May I please have your name and your voter's ID?
Adrian Atkins.
Thank you very much.
Forgot to bring your voter's ID card? You will still be allowed to vote once your name can be found on the voters list and your identity can be confirmed. However, the process to confirm you is quite lengthy, so to avoid delays, remember to bring your card on Election Day. Once your identity has been confirmed and your name has been found on the list, the presiding officer will then examine your fingers and hands for any traces of electoral ink using the integrity lamp. If your polling station is using EVBIS, that is the Electronic Voter Identification and Ballot Issuing System, you will be asked to place a specific finger on a fingerprint scanner. This scanner uses your fingerprint to confirm your identity.
May I check your fingerprints, please?
Once your identity has been verified, you'll be issued a ballot. Listen carefully to the instructions given because if you don't record your vote correctly, it may not be counted.
Mr. Atkinson, you are eligible to vote.
Thank you.
This is your ballot paper with the names of 2 candidates, Matthew Marks and Lou Johns. Please go behind the voting booth and place your X beside the symbol for the candidate of your choice using the pencil provided. I am folding your ballot paper twice. Please return it to me folded in the same manner to protect the secrecy of your vote.
Once you have been issued your ballot, it's time to vote. Go behind the voting booth and using the pencil provided, clearly mark an X in the space beside the symbol of the candidate of your choice. Refold the ballot twice as instructed by the presiding officer, leaving the flap out to protect the secrecy of your vote. Do not show your vote to anyone. Otherwise, your ballot will be declared spoilt and you will have to vote again.
Thank you, Mr. Atkinson. Check, serial number return. Mr. Atkinson, please dip your right index finger in the ink. This way.
Be sure to watch while your unopened ballot is placed in the ballot box.
Once you have witnessed your ballot being placed into the ballot box, the voting process is complete. You should now leave the polling station in a peaceful manner.
Next person, please.
Congratulations, you've just voted. But here are a few more things to keep in mind on election day.
You can only vote if your name is on the voters list. If you make a mistake, you may request another ballot from the presiding officer. Your original ballot will be spoilt and you will be issued a new one. The use of cellular telephones or image capturing devices is strictly prohibited inside the polling stations. You may not remove ballot papers from the polling station. Your ballot is secret. It should not be shown to anyone. For further information on the voting process, visit the ECJ's website at www.ecj.com.jm or call toll-free at 1-888-991-VOTE. That's 1-888-991-8683.
Your vote is your voice. Make it count.
Sweet Jamaica, we not left ya. Tough yam and banana, we not left ya.
Finger-licking jerk chicken, Helsha fish and bami, we run down yam and banana, roast breadfruit, sweet potato pudding. Jamaica food sweet. So let's make a pledge to use more local produce and less foreign goods. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow.
Sweet Jamaica, we not left ya.
This next feature ties in 3 of the observances we're celebrating this month. There's youth, there's agriculture, and there's also science, technology, and innovation. Take a look.
Technology has afforded us the opportunity of being in control without having direct physical contact with objects or certain mechanics, thus creating an ease and relaxed way of doing things. Now, this remote operating technology has been added to farming at the local level. In a technology-driven world, persons are finding more innovative ways to improve and simplify how we do things, as well as creating added benefits and increased profits for businesses. Such was the intention of engineering student at the University of the West Indies, UN Pitta, when he designed and created this fully automated hydroponic greenhouse system. Renewable energy driven, the system is programmed to be operated by the use of a smartphone or the internet, facilitating a more efficient and effective approach to farming.
You don't have to be at the plants every day, right? At the greenhouse every day, because you have access to all the information that you normally would go there to check for.
Information such as the nutrient levels, water, temperature, and humidity, which in a typical greenhouse setting would require manual observation and control. But Pitta's automated system controls all that activity, allowing farmers to maintain quality crops from just about anywhere in the world.
We control the nutrient concentration, such as your N, your nitrate, the phosphate, and your potash. as well as pH and dissolved oxygen. We have a set limit that those parameters are supposed to be at. So once it exceeds those parameters that we set, you will automatically updated by your cell phone to let you know that something is wrong in your greenhouse, right? Our nutrient is off. We can actually monitor this system remotely via cell phone or over the internet.
The intelligent controlling is performed by what's called a programmable logic controller PLC that's microcontroller based. The PLC is used to activate the input and output processes of the greenhouse hydroponic system. Head of UIS Engineering Department and UN Supervisor Dr. Paul Aking explains.
Everything that feeds the nutrients and the sensors and the valves and everything that requires some on-off or some amount of control, all of that is computerized, and it goes into the computer and it stores as special signals, and the commands are stored as special signals. What we do now, we send those signals via the internet, via the SMS, via something like your texting, and then we can see what it is, and we can send both ways. It's bidirectional.
The application won first place for the open category in the 2013 Ministers' Innovation Award developed by the Science and Technology Ministry.
It's an ICT control, meaning that the Internet Protocol login, monitoring and control system of an agricultural process that everyone knows about. No one was aware that you could control these things so remotely, and it really blew the judges away.
Judges were also impressed by the system's ability to efficiently produce its own supply of energy while providing a sustainable means for food security and food production.
This project is about growing plants in a solution environment. It's about controlling such growth and ensuring that you can do that control remotely, or you control and monitor remotely.
Greenhouse farming is known for generating very high crop yield and high quality produce when compared to open air farming. Interests have already been pouring in from both the private and public sector, including the Ministry of Agriculture, about the microcontroller-based automated hydroponic greenhouse system, and the team intends to make this a true demonstration that the technology works.
The next stage is we're going to go to a functional, fully demonstratable functional prototype that anyone in the country can come and look at. You'll see the physical plants growing. You'll get a measure of the yield of the plants. We want to take it as far as it can go. So we want to demonstrate that the technology works.
Ultimately, this automated system is intended to replace the hydroponic technology being used today and make some farming methods less labor-intensive.
We want to engage in projects that are useful, that are nation-building, that are solving problems in the nation, not just some on-the-shelf stuff. So hydroponic and sustainable agriculture is a useful, and we add the electronics and the engineering to it, modernize it, and here we have a product.
This level of commitment to nation building justifies the government's unending drive to promote technology as a vehicle to propel new businesses and to improve existing ones.
And that's how we close today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. We value your feedback, so please continue to send your emails to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. Need up-to-date information on all things Jamaican? Visit our website, jis.gov.jm. We also maintain a strong social media presence, so be sure to look us up. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry. Thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.